Sometimes the best way to something is to say nothing at all. Yeah, I can't remember what I sent to you. This is not
Say
the time or place, Joel.
something, I'm giving up on
No,
you.
no,
No,
that
this
one's
is my
real
song now.
sad.
Leave me alone. Say something, I'm giving up on you. Now you get it? Now
Yeah.
you get it? Okay.
Gosh darn it.
Got you. Hey, what's happening, you guys? Welcome back to the Proclivity Podcast. I am your host, Joel Cochran. I'm here with Emily Rodella, and today we're giving a shout out to the moms. We're going to be talking to the moms, and a couple episodes ago we talked about mom guilt. Now we're going to be talking about becoming a nice, calm mom. Some of you who may be listening who have kids are calling our BS straight out the gate. Like, is there such a thing? Go ahead and come spend one day with my children. And it might be, you might be saying something different. Yet, Emily has had experience with her child. I've had my experience with my nieces and nephews, and also raising some other kids. And so we get you. And there is a way out of this in terms of feeling overstimulated, like you're about to lose your mind. There's like sayings like, oh, my kids are making me pull my hair out. That's an overstimulated sentence from the feeling that they're having inside. So we're going to dive in. We're going to talk about, where's this coming from, this overstimulation? What is it? What are the side effects to it? And then how can we treat it? What are the techniques that we use in the proclivity method in here where we help moms, dads, and so many others be able to down regulate so that we can take on what's coming at us without feeling this overwhelm or overstimulation?
Mm-hmm.
So let's dive into it. I'm excited about this one. Let's talk about overstimulation in itself. What is overstimulation, so that people can understand, instead of just having this like the jokes of like, oh, spend a day with my kids, or I'm pulling my hair out. Those are all just sayings to a feeling that's happening. What is overstimulation?
Yeah, so overstimulation technically is to stimulate physiologically or mentally to an excessive degree. And stimulate means to raise levels of physiological or nervous activity in the body or any biological system. And so, in more layman's terms, it's just getting upregulated. And to me, I have a short fuse or I get impatient. That is the way that I explain it for myself.
Mm. So this upregulated state is both mental and physiological.
Mm-hmm. Correct. Yep. So on the mental side, that nervous system side of you're in your brain, like, oh, I just can't hear one more thing. Or if this happens, right, you're going through it mentally, but you have a physical response too. When your nervous system's upregulated, your body's usually more tense in one area or more. Maybe your stomach's hurting or you're not breathing properly. It can happen in all sorts of forms. But then usually our GI system is then off, right? Because then we're not in that rest and digest state anymore. So all sorts of mental and physiological things are going to happen.
Which then can lead to mom guilt, right? When you blow up and then you feel really bad about it. Then you start going down the path. Am I traumatizing my kids? Am I acting the same way that my parents, treated me?
Mm-hmm.
I want to totally avoid that because I hated the way that my parents raised me, and so on and so forth. Then we start getting down into the psychological warfare of ourselves, and we want to be able to avoid that. So I have some particular examples where it's happened to me and I've seen it. But what are some or some examples of this overstimulation, maybe personally for you, or what you've seen within our clients?
Yeah, for me specifically, it's with my child. I have two dogs. We live in a smaller house. and there can be a lot going on, right? My son is asking me questions over and over again. I'm making dinner, the dogs are in the way, spilling over something, and then my son gets hurt, right? And like all the things happening at once. Imagine like all the spinning plates going on all around you, and then some of them are breaking, and then
Mhm.
more are screaming for your attention. And maybe it's the tantrum trying to leave the park, or maybe like for me, a struggle currently is getting my son and my nephew to leave daycare. Like they just want to keep going down the slide and they don't want to leave, and so it's like it feels like I'm
Mhm.
herding cats to get in the car. And
Mhm.
I start to lose my patience, because we have, in my head I'm like, we have to be somewhere, we have to get going, we're not
Mhm.
on schedule, this isn't how I envisioned it to be, all these little things. And then I get short of breath. I can even get sweaty if I'm in a public or in like a social setting, because then I
Mhm.
start to think of, oh, like everyone's watching, and
Right.
I start to overthink at least.
Sure.
So for me, it's when I'm with my child and things aren't going as planned is the big one.
Mhm. Mm. Ooh, as planned. It's interesting that, like, what the vision that you just gave me was spinning plates. Now, with spinning plates, they must stay continuously spun, right? So you have to come back to it and continuously, okay, I got to go with this, and I got to shut that off, and I got to go this one, and I got to spin that one, and I got to shut that off, and I got to go this one. But I also know that this one over here is still spinning, so I got to make sure I swing back around and I spin that. And if you're not a parent, you may feel this when it comes to work,
Hmm.
multitude of things going on. And as a parent and as a working mom or dad, now you have two things. And you will, if you don't recognize it in your workspace, then you will recognize it in your family life. Those will transverse. So, learning how to be able to manage your time in your workspace can also help to manage your time when it comes with your kids. Because if you're trying to do too much at work, you're going to feel very overstimulated. Overstimulated. Too many things. When it's just you and Dansby, no kids at the park, and he's having a little bit of trouble, like wanting to leave the park, is that harder than it is when you have your two dogs with you, maybe a couple other kids, and he's having the same meltdown? No difference, same meltdown. Is that harder?
No, no, it's harder when all the other stuff's there.
Overstimulated. Too many things on the plate. And we're going to dive into what, in terms of on my side, what I have seen with myself and with others in this yes type of feeling or culture or society or, you know, identity that we may have for ourselves, that we always feel that we need to say yes. When it's like, actually, no. How happy was I today in our team meeting when Gio said no?
You were very proud.
Very. I love it. No is a complete sentence. You don't have to explain anything else to me. You don't have, I have to deal with the no, not anything, anybody else's. It's not my responsibility of how you feel about no, and being able to recognize that. So we can kind of see that there's, there's these different examples of overstimulation. I've been overstimulated before. Obviously, having a kid, there's so many different things. Grab the bag, and the diaper bag, and foods and snacks, and so many things. Overstimulation. Now add a second kid or a third kid, we can see where overstimulation can kind of start ramping its way up. What are the side effects, like physiologically? What are the side effects of constantly being overstimulated?
I mean, essentially, it could be all the things, because we're stimulating our nervous system, which our nervous system affects our gut and our whole body in a way. So it could be almost anything, but specifically, we see a lot of energy issues. So poor or lack of energy, lack of focus or motivation,
Mm,
short tempered or lack of patience, right? So these are just things that, again, I feel um, in the moment. But they can't, these feelings can lead to, if you're done chronically, hormone imbalance, thyroid issues, high cortisol levels, which all these are associated if you're familiar with any of them, stubborn belly fat or inability to lose weight no matter what you do or try, hair falling out, and then just the short tempered with like your kids, right? All the little things here and there of like starting to feel perhaps some resentment towards certain people or even your kids or your dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said before, mom guilt, and overthinking, for me, is a big one for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's just so interesting. Like, this is why we love what we do, is helping to bring awareness that that stubborn belly fat or that hormonal issue, that fatigue, that tiredness, the lack of sleep can actually be mostly related back to psychological and the way we're living our life. Less than it is that people are really shooting for, like, here's the magic supplement, magic pill, magic diet, so on and so forth. Because we've had a ton of people get on the special diet and nothing changed
Hmm.
because in their life, they're still in this super overstimulated state.
Right.
And when we're talking about moms, right, there's a lot of huge hormonal changes that happen, you know, before birth, during birth, after birth. And
Hmm.
now you have to take care of a whole new human that looks like you. Now all of a sudden there's all kinds of different, your mom's wanting to come in, she wants to help out. You're like, no, don't get away from my kid because you made me feel a certain way and I don't want you to make them feel a certain way, even though they're 2 weeks old. Get away, mama bear, I'm gonna rip your face off.
Yep.
Does that align? I mean, I'm not mom.
Yeah, there's pieces of that that resonate, and I know for a fact with a lot of our clients for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And this is, again, guys, this is what we work on, is being able to creating a healed place and space with ourselves so we can have that healed space for everyone else who comes and enters it, whether it's mom or our kids or our husband or our wives. But if you don't have a healed space and a safe space for yourself, well, good luck letting anybody else in, particularly if there's any triggers from the past. And again, that will create overstimulation. Have you ever been overstimulated with your family?
Yes.
What
100%.
what has that caused for you physiologically?
Ooh. Lots of things I mentioned. So for me, it's like that pit in the bottom of your stomach feeling, tense body, well, not breathing properly. So like there, I remember back when I had all my health issues and my family, were trying to talk to me about it. I had little anxiety attacks. Like I would leave the room crying, and it was hard for me to breathe. So all sorts of things.
Mm, hmm. Hmm. So we know that this can be a big deal. This overstimulation, at being a mother or being a father as well. How do we start helping with this? Like, is it as simple as being able to go, well, just chill out, like, just calm down, take your foot off the gas pedal? Let's talk
Oh,
short term and long term here of
yeah.
what we can do to start creating a space of a calm mom. Because if we have a calm space, then we are opening our children up to also be in a more downregulated space because children will match what your energy is. They don't know anxiety, but they know high energy. So if we're anxious, isn't it weird how all of a sudden it's like, man, it's just like, and it was just a day because they just were on one. They were on one, or I was on one. I was on one, and they were matching my energy. And that's because I wasn't taking time for myself to downregulate. So I was stuck in an overstimulated, overregulated state. And the thing is, those kids sleep for 10 hours a night compared to your 6.5. They're ready to match your energy and then some.
Hmm.
So, what can we do to be able to start downregulating, grounding ourselves? and being able to create a more calm state?
Yeah. So initially, it starts with awareness. The awareness of, hey, what are those things that are contributing to that feeling? Right. The
Hmm.
moment you feel impatient, short tempered, like, "Ugh," right? You just want to do that literally.
Hmm.
Pause, and can you take a deep breath and get curious?
Hmm.
What's going on here? What do I need? Sometimes that's a breath, sometimes that's a pattern interruption. We talk about that in the proclivity method, something to break us out of our typical way of thinking or thought pattern. But at a minimum, can we pause and breathe and say, hey, what's going on here? And just start that awareness because we need to break that cycle. Because typically, I
Hmm.
would imagine for most people, it's like this happened, this happens, and then we immediately go into this action or thought process. And so for me, it was pausing, going, this doesn't feel good. I don't like this. What's going on? So
Got you.
that awareness. And then what can I do next instead? And so, like, a thought for me, it's like, what would a calm mom or whatever you want to put in there? What would, someone you look up to even, what would they do in this situation? What would that look like? Because for me, it helps to have that visualization. Like, what would they say or how would they be acting? And I
Mm,
try like something like that I envision. Like, well, I could let go of the expectation that we're going to be there on time. I can let go of the expectation that they're going to calm down right now. I can let go of the expectation that I need to handle it this certain way, and I can just feel it more intuitively and let it flow.
mm,
Those are the things that go through my head in the moment.
mm. I like the expectation part, right? I mean, expectations for a lot of different areas in life can be very difficult for people, right? We put these expectations, most of the time, it's expectations of ourselves. I'm a person who shows up on time.
Hmm.
Okay, so then what happens if you're late? How do you feel, right? If we don't give ourselves that grace, that, yeah, at times I'm going to be late, and that's okay. But if
Hmm.
the expectation is that it's either black or white, then when you don't, one, you're going to try to make up a ton of excuses. Well, it was the kids, or it was the traffic, or it was my husband, or it was projecting, 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 not taking ownership. And you're going to feel a certain way when you get there, right? Say you show up late, you're going to be all upregulated because
Right.
you're feeling that you let somebody else down, or you let yourself down.
Hmm.
Yet life is, well, it depends. It depends. Well, you're going to be late. So you're going to miss this part of the party, which is going to be, you know, a bummer. Hmm, Depends. Maybe I get more time with my kid here. Maybe I miss that accident. Being able to give ourselves grace and space in that is vitally important.
Hmm.
And then understanding where are those expectations coming from. That's the stuff that I like to dig into. Like,
Hmm.
wait. Why is there such a big expectation to be on time? Where does that come from? Wait, why do you have to get it done? Why, when you clean the house, you have to clean the whole house? Why does the whole house have to be cleaned all at once? Where does that come from? We start asking those questions, then we can understand what the driving force is to get there on time, to clean the entire house, to have your kids perfectly dressed, to whatever. Now we're starting to understand that. When we can understand that, then we can start moving those things. We start adjusting the way that feels within us.
Hmm.
And then sub- subjectively and objectively, we can start changing what our reality is.
Yep.
What else? What else you got? How do we get a calm
Yeah.
mom?
So in the shorter term, being able to pause, right? The awareness, take a deep breath. Hey, how can I shift my perspective on this? But hey, can I ask for help? Can I again let go of the expectation of where I need to be in a certain
Mm,
amount of time?
mm,
Can I delegate? Can I pause and be like, hey, I need some quiet time for just a minute?
mm,
Whether you walk out of the room or ask someone, hey, can you watch my kid for just a minute?
mm-hmm,
Um, And then going more into, well, before I get to that, you can start to address like, hey, what am I feeling right now in terms of the emotions?
Mm,
You can even talk about it with your kids depending on the situation and their age and all of that, right? Because we want to continue to be familiar with those emotions and expressing them,
mm,
and lead by example with your kids, right? Hey, when you get stressed out, what do you do? Right? Because if you continuously and or every single time walk away or get frustrated, like that's what your kid's going to learn. So can we do that and in a different way to teach your kids at the same time? Right? This may take some time to get to that. I understand
mhm,
for sure.
mhm,
Um, but at the end of the day, we want to get to a point where we can create more space. Because for me, I'm like, well, if I'm going to be late, this is a recurring theme. If I'm going to be, this is if I'm going to be late, I need to have more space in my day. So what does that mean? I need to take some more things off my plate in the
mhm,
day, whether it be
mhm.
expectations or actual to do things, right? So
Sure.
taking things off my to do list
Yeah.
or saying no to one more thing in the day. Say, hey, one thing, we're going to go to the park today and we're going to have dinner later.
Mhm,
Very simple. So we do have more flow time in whether it be the transportation or if there is a meltdown, whatever the case may be. And so it's not doesn't feel as like, oh, we have to be here or we have to do this.
mm.
So that's the big one for me when it
Expectations
comes
again.
to long term. Yes, it comes back to it.
I have to, or do we get to?
You get to
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. And the language of it really is essential of how we react to something, because what I have to do and what I get to do are two different things. Yet if we put a ton of expectations that I have to be this certain mom who shows up to all the other kids' birthday parties and brings the cupcakes and the three different presents that I hand wrapped, whoa, you just added six different things to one event. And I have a rule of thumb for myself, which is I only do one event per day, meaning that too often, particularly on the weekends, we get stuck in like, we're going to go with balloon races first thing in the morning. And then after that, we're going to go to lunch with, Dan and Susie and their kids. And then we're going to hit the park after. And then after the park, we're going to go to dinner at our parents' house. No wonder you're overstimulated. Why are you needing to move so much? My guess is that you were already there before you had a child. And so now the child has just given you a reason to continue to stay upregulated. What are we teaching our children? Upregulated state. We need to show our children how to downregulate. Yet we have to be the first one to say, no, no, thank you. I won't be able to have lunch. We're going to the balloon races in the morning, but you're more welcome to join us if you want to come to the balloon races. No, you can't make it. How about 3 weeks from now we can get lunch? People are afraid to plan stuff out. I'll plan stuff out literally 2 months out.
Hmm.
Hey, that's not going to be able to work. I only do one thing a day. How about we try this date at this time? How does that work? Most people are in such a reactive state, they're only planning week to week, and it's usually last minute. Thursday, your parents are asking if you want to do, dinner on Sunday
Hmm.
or even the day of. And then there's this application. Oh, I should do it. And then before I know it, I'm overstimulated because all it takes is one of your kids to have a meltdown. You have such a thin line, and now,
And I even know a lot of parents who they plan all that back to your point of like, where'd this come from? I know a lot of parents who pack the day on purpose. They're like, oh, I want my, things, I want something for my kid to do all throughout the day, or whether it be the day or the week,
sure.
right? Like I want them to have activities. But then
Hmm.
from what I hear from a lot of those are like the overstimulation, the stressed out, we don't have
Right.
time, we're getting to bed late, we're eating dinner late, or whatever that case may be for you. And
Well,
so,
and the question is why?
yeah.
Why do you want your kids to constantly be moving or constantly have activities? Is that because you didn't have it? That's because your parents weren't there? Do you, because somebody told you on Instagram or somewhere else?
Or are you afraid to sit with your child at home being quote unquote bored?
Right, because you're having to sit by yourself.
Uh-huh.
Do you have the ability just to sit on the floor and play choo choo trains for an hour and a half? No, you only can play choo choo trains for 10 minutes. And then you want to make sure that you could get up and clean the whatever, or you're prepping for dinner later on that night, or, and I get it, there's a ton of things to do. I'm not saying I'm not
Mhm.
bashing anybody that's there. What I'm saying is why is it that we can't be present right there? Is it because we're loading our day? Is it because I was raised in a household that was overstimulated and now I'm repeating the pattern of overstimulation? Am I seeking something because I'm uncomfortable to sit with myself? These are the questions that we want to be able to ask ourselves, because when we start asking, we might find some answers to it. Where now we might be able to sit for 20 minutes with our kids playing choo choo trains before going like, okay, I'm going to get up. That's okay. That's okay. What about, like, we talk about repetition as the mother of all skill. What about long term? Is there certain techniques that you utilize to, and this is, I'm sure, for you a journey in terms of being a calm mom. Um,
Mhm.
Obviously, I don't have children, so, and I'm not a mother, so I'm not working on being a calm mom. What are some of the long term things that you're working on or have worked on?
Mhm. Yeah, the biggest one comes back to um, leaving more space and room for me in my day. And so I asked myself, what do I want my day to look like throughout the week while I'm working? What do I want my days to look like on the weekend with that space involved? Right? What does that specifically look like? So I chose this job. We choose the hours we work for that purpose. For me, it's like, hey, I want to prioritize time with my child. I want to have X amount of hours of day with him
Mm-hmm.
and on the weekends. And then it moves into things like, okay, we're going to do one sport at a time for a while, like one activity, right?
Mm-hmm.
I value my sleep and my me time, right? Comes back to what do I value in my day? What keeps me happy and healthy so I can be that light for him and my whole family. And so that's the big one in terms of long term. I continuously chip away and work towards that ideal day. So I have that space for me. And so the one first start I would say for most people is, can you have some time for you in your day?
Mm-hmm.
Whether that be a workout, a walk, maybe it is like you're going to work, but you're taking like 10, 15 minutes just to like chill and do whatever you want. Right. But
Mm-hmm.
some kind of down regulating thing. And that's where I would start if you're not there yet. And if you want somewhere to go and be like, hey, what does that even look like? If it's 5 minutes, great, start there and then increase.
And we had a client who just had a child and was feeling the weight. Like the baby is just really being needy and needs to be held a lot. So it's like just feeling like there is no time for this client. And when we started working it out, we started asking the questions, we started finding out like, oh man, I just feel like there's been zero time for me. So, as we would with nutrition, as we would with fitness, as we would with business, we go, cool, what's our lowest possible barrier that we can create some momentum on? And what we ended up doing is we researched the closest park to her, and it was this teeny little, you would pass right by it type of park. And we were able to go, all right, well, how far of a walk that is? Okay, that's about 15 minutes total round trip. If you sit there for 5 minutes, get your feet into the grass, what is that now? Okay, 20 or 25 minutes. Okay, what time? Can your husband watch the child? Yes, great. And she was able to go to the park and back in 25 minutes. And we got a message of, holy crap, how much better that made me feel. 25 minutes.
Mhm.
Start off small. It doesn't have to be huge. Doesn't mean I gotta, take this wild vacation. It's being able to learn day to day how to be able to create that space for you in the small spots, parts, right?
And that's where for me, because I immediately am like 25 minutes. I have all these other things to do. I could do, I have to clean the house. I have to prep this and that. But saying no to those things, it's worth it. Try it out. It's worth your mental and physical health. I promise you. Those things can wait.
And if you haven't done this before, guys, this is business kind of 101. When I walk people through business and I'm walking them through their time of their day, I ask them, cool, how long does that take you? Making dinner. Have you ever measured it? Well, no. Okay, so if we've never measured it, then how long do we know that it actually takes? Because it's like nutrition when people are like, oh no, I eat enough protein. You do? When's the last time you measured it? Oh, I
Hmm.
don't remember. Let's measure it from one day. Oh, you're 100 grams under what you're supposed to be getting. Oh, no, no, my blood pressure's great. When's the last time you did it? Oh, I don't know. Oh, your blood pressure's too high. Just like anything else, we do need to measure it to see a baseline. That means that we don't have to touch it every single day.
Hmm.
But when we start understanding how long it takes to prep food, what are the essential things each day? Well, we got to eat. Okay, I like my house being clean. Okay, well, how long does it take to be able to clean after dinner? What's one section of the house that I could clean instead of the whole house? Okay, could I clean just this section over here? Okay, cool. That's going to take X amount of time. Now we have a baseline. Okay, with work, with that amount of time I want to spend with my kid, the amount of time it takes for dinner. Now I start getting an actual space of like, okay, I have an hour and a half that I could give. Now you can start making decisions that you can say yes to going to the park, yes to this, or no to that. Because if not, and you say yes and you just magically think it's going to fit in there, even though you have no measurement of what your time is, you're going to be squeezing that thing in, feeling like you're juggling 1,000 different plates because you have to, because you recognize, oh crap, for me to be able to bake these cupcakes, wrap these presents, spend time with my kid, feed him, feed myself, get out the door, get across town, get to this birthday party, be able to be present for X amount of time before I got to go back to the grocery store to be able to get food, to be able to have dinner prepared for tonight. Does that ring a bell at all, Emily?
Yes, I'm like, is this possible? We'll
Yet,
see. No.
well, that's what most of us do, right?
Right. Right.
And then where do we end up? Overstimulated
Hmm.
because we didn't take a moment to go, okay, how much time is that going to be? Ooh, I only have 30 minutes tomorrow. Really like open space, like whatever and that 30 minutes that's not including your time for yourself. We should be including daily time for ourselves.
Hmm.
So then we start looking and go, I'm going to have to say no to that party. I'm going to
Hmm.
have to say no to going to dinner. I'm going to have to say no to. And when we do that, that gives us the ability to create more space where we can
Hmm.
down regulate, where we can adjust, where we can adjust. Anything else on in terms of long term? I mean, I know I threw some other different things out there.
Yeah, just if you want some additional coaching or therapy, or we love the minimalist challenge, right? That's like it's a 30-day challenge of getting rid of clutter or things in your house, but that could be minimizing your day and week when it comes to events or things too. And then always coming back to our breath, because when in doubt, if we find ourselves falling back into those old patterns, we can simply just breathe, down regulate for a moment, then we can move forward with the choices that we actually most likely want to be doing and be no go, do I really want this? Yes or no? What do I need?
Mm,
So continuing the reps there.
hmm hmm Repetition is the mother of all skill. We've talked about that many times. We'll continue to talk about it because we're putting in the reps.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of different pieces here in terms of down regulating. One of the things is you know question yourself why. Why do I feel like I have to do these things? Why is it hard for me to say no? you know why do I have these expectations? Why do I get so upset when I don't meet these expectations? My language, how do I use my language? Oh, I'm so busy. Oh, life has just been a grind. The kids have been crazy. Grind, crazy, busy. Does that sound like a life that you want to live? That if I got up and you were passed away and you're dead, and I said, Emily, she lived a life that was busy, crazy, and stressful. Would you want me to say that about you?
No, I want to have lived that life.
Great. So let's stop using words like that. Life is not a grind, it is a flow. It's up to you on how you want to flow. Busy is just a word. That is it. My days are fulfilled. I don't use the word busy because fulfilled to me makes me look forward to the next thing. Busy is like, I don't have enough time to finish this thing. And this is the identity we'll start painting to ourselves of who we are, what we look like. So that at the end of the day, how do we feel? Exhausted, and we're short tempered, and we probably feel like a victim. And we're probably looking at our husband or wife like they didn't do enough. We got to pump those brakes. We create our reality. We got to recreate our reality. So let's wrap this up. We talked a lot of different things. What would you say the top 3 things are for people to start working on right now?
Number one, create more space in your day, meaning if you feel like you're rushing from thing to thing, you're late to these things, say no to more or structure your day in a way that feels better for you so you don't have to be rushing.
Mm,
So create space. Number two, have more down regulating time or create time for you, whatever that may be. Could be a workout, but I would still say workouts are up regulating. Have some time at the end of that to stretch, deep breathe, go on a 5-minute walk as your cool down, something that's for you. And then continue to dream of what you want your day to look like moving forward because it's going to always change, right? You're going to learn, you're going to say yes to things and be like, oh, actually, I wish I would have said no to that, right? So take note and keep adjusting moving forward so you continue to build your ideal day and week.
I love it. You guys, if you need help with any of this, feel free to reach out. We love talking about this. We continue to organize our days, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, doesn't
from
stop.
a mom that can get overstimulated, how has it been? I know at times it's been hard for you in things I've asked you to do,
Mm-hmm.
but how has it been being able to organize your day more and more?
Yeah, it's definitely helped. One less thing to worry about. And when he says it's been hard, I've been resistant to some things because it's not how I've always done it. So it doesn't feel comfortable. So I've been leaning more into the uncomfortable feelings of change, but it has really helped me. It's in the biggest way, to be honest, is it's overlapping in other areas. I'm like, oh, well, I can take 1 minute to clean that one thing up. Oh, I can take 1 minute to do this, right? Little baby steps that make big change over time. So it's really having a big impact in all areas of my life.
Proud of you.
Thanks.
All right, guys.
Appreciate it.
Anything else, Emily? Episode 123, how to become a calm mom. Hopefully we helped some moms out there or other people connect to the calmness.
Yeah, if you're feeling that resistance, like I was just talking about, and you feel like it's hard to make some of these steps, please reach out to us, book a connection call, and we can chat about it. Maybe I can give you even more specific feedback just in that 15-minute connection call with me. Or if you want additional help, we can chat about the proclivity method and if it's the right fit for you. So check it out, shoot us a message, or check out our website to book that call. Either way.
And don't you have a blog too on
Yeah, I
topics
have a
similar to
blog.
this?
Um, yes, I have lots of similar topics in relation to mom, kids, food, nutrition, mindset around being a mom, all of it. So if you go to our website, go to the blog section, there's a search button. If you just want to learn all things mom, type in mom. If you want to learn things of nutrition and kids, type that in. You can find a bunch of it or just scroll.
Yeah. Yeah. We're here to help, guys. We love what we do and we're really good at it. So if you've enjoyed this podcast, please give us 5 stars. We really appreciate it. We'll give you a high five. from Emily and I both, live 3D. Okay. That's worth at least 5 cents. 1 penny for each finger. Don't you think? Well, maybe yours is 6 cents.
Yes.
Yeah, but you have a better
We'd
high
be
five.
very appreciative.
You have a better high five than me. A dap?
Thanks.
Yeah, dap, maybe not so much. But a high five, yes. And if you guys don't know what a dap is, then join Emily because she still doesn't know either. All right, you guys. Thank you once again for joining us. Episode 123 in the books. We will be following up next week, episode 124. And until then,
Best day ever.
best day ever. Emily,
Mm-hmm.
what's your dream car?
My dream car.
You can have any car.
I haven't done a ton of research, but I really like those new Broncos.
Mm.
That's been the one I've had my eye on lately.
Oh, a Bronco girl. I wouldn't see that out of you, but I like it.
Yeah,
I like it.
the fancy ones.
Yeah, heck yeah.
What about you?
Subaru Outback 2004. Sitting out there in the parking lot right now. 285,000 miles, seats ripped. It's my dream. It's my dream because I've worked on that car forward and back. And then whatever my next car is, that's gonna be my dream car.
Yeah, I'm not huge on cars, so I like the looks of them, but it's not a priority. So
If you guys want to give Emily a gift at any point, give her a gift of a bird scooter ride. It makes her very happy.
yes,
That's what she
yes,
really wants
nonstop
for Christmas.
laughs.
It is nonstop laughs. We have a lot of fun. All right. If you guys would like to leave a review and tell us what your favorite car is, or just leave us a great review, give us a screenshot, send it to proclivity.co on Instagram. We'll send you a box and element. Let's do it. See you next time.
See ya.